TurdOrTreasure.
Pickle.
Did you grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Well, hello. Welcome out to another review show. This is one of our summer break hiatus shows. We're rounding up a bunch of cool things that all of us have had a chance to check out while we're on break. We're doing things at our own pace. It's not quite as rushed as we usually do to try to make things, out every week at this exact same time. So things are going to be a little all over the place. There's going to be stuff here probably from the end of July, some stuff that's coming out in early August, and somewhere in between there as well. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm on break, on vacation, so I'm watching movies, I'm doing games, I'm visiting family, I'm doing little mini trips and stuff here and there. So it's a hodgepodge of stuff in here. No big massive intro here, nothing really big to report, other than we're still doing some stuff in the background, getting some shows prepped for the fall when we have time. But yeah, there's going to be a roundup of some of the movies that I've received in here. There's going to be a bunch of reviews from Birdman that he's worked on over the last little bit. There should be something here from Ken, gaming wise. I'll have probably a gaming review or two in here, some hardware, that sort of stuff. A lot of cool fun stuff. So sort of this is a catch-all roundup in case you missed some stuff from us. It's all here. I'll come back at the end very quickly with just a quick update programming wise as to what's coming up on the show. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to our first review.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again I'm here to talk to you about one of my favorite topics in the whole wide world. I'm talking about Transformers Studio Series. Hasbro was kind enough to send over the Studio Series representation from Transformers The Last Night, Barricade. Barricade, you may remember, was in Transformers 2007 as the guy who went up to Sam, was asking, "Are you eBay user Ladies Man 217? Where are the glasses?" And we just kind of disappeared for a bunch of movies. He appeared in Dark of the Moon in his original form, and then he just kind of went off on his own for a while. There was some ancillary media, not the point here. So this is based upon his Transformers 5 appearance in The Last Night. This is a market upgrade over the original Studio Series 1. I've only briefly had a chance to take a look at. I actually have the original 2007 one I bought a couple years ago at like $5 at like a garage sale. Surprisingly complete. And then there was like a non-transforming one I was able to pick up a while back as well. So what makes this one really stand out? Well, it's an officially licensed car, which I think is, again, very cool when it comes to the Studio Series stuff. What makes this figure really impressive, though, it has a crap ton of accessories. He's got his rocket launchers, he's got his guns, he's got his tasers. You can basically turn him into kind of like, there was like a series of figures that came out around Dark of the Moon where they had like mech tech, I think it was called, where they had like a hidden like attack mode kind of built in. So yeah, you can mount your weapons on Barricade. He can wield dual pistols. He's got like his rocket launcher arm. He looks really, really sick. And some of the Bayverse stuff is kind of hit or miss when it comes to really good toy representation. But this one I think is a pretty solid winner. And like I said, it's a definite upgrade over the 2007 version of Barricade. I mean, he looks so good in car mode where legitimately I kind of fret over like, how do I want to display this? Because some of my Transformers I have displayed in vehicle mode and some of them I have displayed in robot mode. And obviously it's a Transformer. You want to show it off as, it's robot with his guns and everything. But with him in vehicle mode, he looks just so menacing. He's got that really dark color. He literally feels like I'm a Decepticon enforcer, and I so dig that. And as far as I know, we're going to be getting the rest of the last night's Decepticon crew at some point. We're going to get a new Megatron. We already have Mohawk. Maybe we'll get Nitro Zeus, I think was the other guy. Yeah, like, it's going to be awesome. I mean, we just got Nemesis Prime from the last night, so we're getting more and more figures from that particular movie. I mean, Hot Rod was easily the best Autobot to come out of that movie. I don't have Crosshair, so I can't say a lot about that one. But Barricade, it's so solid. And this is a figure, if you see it on shelves, really, I don't think it's a waste to pick it up. Again, fantastic looking vehicle mode. Outstanding looking robot mode. Tons of accessories, lots of playability, lots of posability. So no matter what you do with this particular figure, you're going to have a fantastic time depending on where it fits in with your particular collection, especially if you're collecting a lot of the Studio Series stuff. So once again, that's going to be my review of Transformers Studio Series, Transformers Studio Series, The Last Night Barricade. Definitely one that is going to be set out to enslave and punish.
Alex, the producer here, breaking in from our summer break to just quickly talk, a little quickie review here of Cultic. Our friends over at Atari and Just Oz sent a review copy for us to check out. This is on the PlayStation 5. It's hitting consoles for the first time. I had heard of this before. This was released, I think, probably 3-4 years ago on PC. It was one of the big new boomer shooters that were coming out, the shooters that harken back to the 90s era of like the Build engine and Doom engine stuff. Basically, it's a spiritual successor to the old FPS Blood, which I remember not playing initially. I knew friends that had it, so I remember seeing it in magazines and then eventually on was like TV on like reviews on the run and that sort of stuff. So it was always cool. Like a dark 90s era polygons, something you'd see like on a PS1 if a PS1 could do like better than 20 frames per second. That's the best way I can describe it. It is pretty cool and creepy. It's I think it's set in the 1960s. There's trying to uncover stuff going on with a creepy violent cult. There's chapter 2 is included here. That was something that took a few years to come out. That came out last year. Now everything is collected, together, available on consoles. It has a very like 1997, 1998 visual flair to it. The first part is a little more on rails, a little more linear, but pretty fun. It's got all the crunchy pixels and cool sound effects and just the feel of the era. You kind of have to have grown up with it to know what I mean. It is cool if I guess you're a younger person that can jump in and be like, oh, this is sort of what they were like. This is a visage of what you could have expected back in the day. And then the second chapter is a little more open. There's more objectives to do that are like, it's a little fetch questy, but it's sort of like less on rails than you were in the first part. It's a pretty cool game, honestly. I'm glad that I had a chance to check it out. I'll put a link in the description of the show for you. It's not going to be the shooter for everyone, but I do think everyone should at least give it a try and check it out.
You think you're the only superhero in the world? Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
Who the hell are you?
Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again, I'm here to talk to you about something that I've been really excited about over the last little while, and I'm talking about Magic the Gathering, and I'm talking about the Marvel's superhero set. So this set's been out a little while. We've got the collector boosters, your standard boosters, Jumpstart, 4 pre-constructed decks. I currently own the Avengers Assemble deck in the standard version. I have bought 2 booster boxes and probably 2 booster boxes of Jumpstart. So I consider myself fairly well versed in this particular thing. And Marvel has sort of been my jam when it comes to this. And Magic has been really good. They've supported me through Fallout, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy, Spider-Man. And this is the set that I'm probably going to plant my flag in and really sort of like stand this set. I'm a Marvel guy. I always have been. And the fact that I can, play Magic with Marvel characters brings back that feeling of playing Marvel Overpower from the 90s back into my headspace. And I gotta say, it's been a wonderful nostalgia trip to do this. And I've also met some really wonderful people in my community. Most notably, I've been working with some of my friends that work at local retail stores, such as The Dragon here in Guelph and also TKO, also here in Guelph. I've also had a few opportunities to bring in some experts who hopefully will join me here on the show later on in the year when we get into The Hobbit and eventually into Star Trek, which is my big set. So currently, out of the creature cards for the Magic the Gathering Marvel Superheroes, 128 of the 170 cards, creature cards, are legendary. So again, that's Captain America, that's all the Fantastic Four, Ultron, Doctor Doom, Molten Man, Molecule Man, Human Torch, Whirlwind, all the characters you can possibly think of are probably here. Yeah, there are some reprints from some of the Marvel Spider-Man sets that came out, but for the most part, you're getting a really large slice of the Marvel universe here. Would not surprise me. Unsubstantiated rumor here. I'm going to say we'll probably see X-Men at some point next year, in which case, I'm so building something around Jubilee and Generation X if it happens to come true. I'm just saying, she's my girl and has been since the 1990s. I was a Jubilee fan before it was cool. That being said, this is a really fun set. I mean, honestly, the pre-cons are really fun. Some of them are stronger than others, and some of them do require a little bit of upgrading for you to make them truly competitive in different brackets. I myself am currently working on my Captain America Avengers Assembles pre-con, adding some things. I'm trying to keep it mostly in universe, which is something that I really feel this set does well. You can mostly build these decks up using nothing but the Marvel superhero stuff, which is sort of, I don't like to mix other sets, which is going to immediately contradict what I'm going to say next. Some of these sets play really well together. One of my friends is helping me build a deck that is Tony Stark and Donatello from the earlier set that came out this year for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm going to have this really powerful blue artifact deck that I think is really going to do some work on the field. And I'm really looking forward to annoying the crap out of people with it. And I'm looking forward to it in so many different ways. When it comes to the product itself, I do like the fact there's so many different options here. There's a beginner box. There are bundles of all different types. There's a gift set, which does give you a collector booster and some other stuff and some other like kind of life counters and stuff like that. Again, I did not get this product for review. I've decided to purchase it on my own. And I'm mostly talking about it because I'm having so much fun with it. I think one of the things I really like about Universes Beyond is if you hit the right IP, it really brings people in. And when I learned Marvel was going to be a part of it, like the Spider-Man set I had fun with, but I didn't love. But the Turtle set really committed me. And that set I almost have a complete run of. Like, I'm missing some of the super high value cards, and those will always likely be out of range. But when it comes to the standard set, I'm missing like maybe 40. So I'm at the point where I can literally buy singles, put it in a binder, and put a pin in it because I'm done, which is really cool. But with this Marvel stuff, I see so many possible synergies. I see so many abilities that play well with like each other. Like the Avengers Assembles deck is like a lot of +1/+1 counters. So you can do some crazy stuff with that. Squirrel Girl. Squirrel decks are a thing from when I was a kid. So yeah, if you get like Squirrel Girl and like Tippy and Pizza Dog, you can do some really fun shenanigans. Wolverine has some busted combos with Raphael if you cross that with the Ninja Turtle set. There's so many fun possibilities here where there's literally something for everybody. And considering we've got Spider-Man coming out next week with Brand New Day, we have Avengers Doomsday, the full trailer's finally out. There's going to be a big presentation at Comic-Con at some point soon if this airs between now and then. Ultimately, I really like the Marvel superhero set. I will say finding collector boosters has been a bit of a trick. I haven't had a chance to really invest in that. I'm mostly Jumpstart and Play Booster focused, but I've had so much fun with this. And the fact that my local community seems rather accepting of it, I think is a really good sign, because I know some people aren't the biggest fans of Universes Beyond, rather, but I think when you have a set like this that feels fun and really works well with the mechanics of the games, like I've been watching a couple of YouTube channels that talk about design philosophy, and a lot of these cards were designed from the top down, so that they're like, yeah, that is totally Venom, that is totally Captain America, that is totally Miles Morales. It makes sense. Like, if you want to do like token decks with like treasure or food, you can do cool stuff with like Kingpin, which I'm totally building around right now. There's so many fun things you can do, and if you want to enhance older decks, it's not that hard, and you can do a lot of it purely in universe too, and you'll still remain competitive at fairly decently high brackets of play. So ultimately, if you can get your hands on some of the Marvel superhero stuff, I really think you're going to have a fantastic time. Obviously, a good place to start is the beginner box, but if you know what you're doing, all the commander decks have a really good vibe to them. My favorite is Avengers Assemble because, hey, I have an Avengers tattoo. You get it. Doctor Doom, I think from what I've been gathering, I think it's the weakest mechanically. Wakanda Forever, I think, is probably the next best, and Fantastic Four has some interesting ideas, but you'll have to build up to enhance it to have it do what you want to, because there's so many different identities in that deck, and depending on what you want to accomplish, there's your mission, right? So yeah, ultimately, I think Marvel Superheroes from Wizards of the Coast, I think it's a great Universes Beyond set. I would be really surprised if we don't get an X-Men focused set at some point in the future. If they did a Secret Lair for like Age of Apocalypse or an MCU focused set, I would totally buy into that. But ultimately, I really think you should check this out. If you really want to get a vibe for this, go out and check out some of the Jumpstart packs. I think there's a lot of fun value in there. And if you could hit the Ultron, Great Lakes Avengers, or the Trickster ones, you are going to hit some amazing cards. Like Ultron, I think it's Artificial Malevolence, or Ultron the Annihilator, I can't remember which, is like the top hit. Or if you can get Doctor Doom Unrivaled, I think it is, or Loki God of Misrule. There's some really fun card combos there. Or my favorite, Tippy the Squirrel. That's right. And the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl is amazing. I can't wait to build something around her. I think it's going to be really cool and really annoying. But yeah, you should check this out. I had a lot of fun with it. And that has been Marvel Superheroes from Wizards of the Coast.
To me, my X-Men.
It's time again for another one of our roundups. We're still on our summer break. Alex, the producer here. Hiya. We've got a roundup of some of the movies that have come in over the last couple of weeks that I've had a chance to check out now. From a few different companies. It's going to be, quick sort of overviews of them, not super in-depth stuff, because technically still on vacation. We'll probably revisit them a little later on, but I wanted to make sure we mentioned them because there's some pretty cool stuff here. And it's getting to be that time when we're starting to ramp up for thinking about gifts and stuff coming in the fall. Maybe something you might want to pick up. Our friends over at Visual Vengeance, who've been sending us some pretty cool stuff lately, have sent over Lauren, a film by Robert Sigel. This is a special edition Blu-ray set. It is as weird and odd as you might think coming from Visual Vengeance, but basically here's the premise. It takes place in a German rural town in 1901. Children are disappearing under mysterious circumstances. Lauren is a young girl who has lost her mother. She begins experiencing like these really weird, terrifying visions, and it may be connected to the missing classmates, essentially. Some weird force is lurking beneath the surface of the village, and then things happen is the best way to describe it. The film's from 1989. It's in widescreen 178:1. It's completely unrated, so keep in mind it's not going to be for children. I'll say that. Visually, it looks pretty good, especially from a Visual Vengeance release. Audio is clear enough, easy to sound, is easy to hear. Being that it's a collector's edition, there is a whole bunch of special features included here. There's a director-approved 2K transfer from the 35mm elements, completely uncut. There's English, German language versions included here, which is always great to see that you have the option for both. There's subtitle translations, VHS rough cut. There's a whole bunch of interviews. I was watching a whole bunch of these. There's like 7 or 8 different interviews or more. There's footage from like award ceremonies, a Bavarian Film Awards presentation, 8 photo galleries, collectible folded mini poster, Blu-ray sleeve featuring the original home video art, 6-page liner notes, original trailer, other Visual Vengeance trailers, optional, closed captioning, all the fun stuff that you love to expect from some of these more premium releases. Not always the case with Visual Vengeance releases, but I'm happy to see that is here for sure. We also received the brand new 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray combo release of New York, New York. Now, this is a film that I had seen. I'm not the biggest musical fan. Everybody knows that. But this is something I received way back. We're talking 25 years ago, 25 years ago, when the original Scorsese DVD box set came out. It was like 4 or 5 pictures from his earlier films. And it was in there with like, Boxcar Bertha and Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Stuff that as a teenager I wasn't necessarily going to be into, but I watched all of them and I actually pretty enjoyed New York, New York for what it was worth back then. Now seeing it, as an adult, middle-aged, getting up there, I'm actually happy to say that it's better than I even remembered at the time. It has gone through a pretty substantial new scan, full restoration, a 16-bit scan. So again, we've talked about this before, regular television and, DVD, Blu-ray, 8-bit. When you're watching something that is with HDR, generally 10-bit. When you're watching something on Dolby Vision, and we're talking high-end Dolby Vision, if your TV can support it, it sometimes is 12-bit. 16-bit is significantly above that. We're talking professional grade restoration here. From the original negative expanded cut of the film, it's presented in 4K in the original 1:6:6:1 aspect ratio in HDR, which is something I wasn't expecting. I expected them to reformat it for regular television, but I'm happy that you get to see it in that original aspect. Introduction by Martin Scorsese. There's audio commentaries on here, lossless audio tracks in surround sound, and the original stereo, and reversible artwork. Blu-ray, previous features that were released before. Pretty sweet release overall. I'm happy with that. We also received Project Hail Mary, Ryan Gosling's, big picture this year. Probably there's some people out there that might say that they didn't think it was, but I think it's the best sci-fi film released of the last 5 years, if not more, especially in theaters. Very, very good. I was so happy when I saw this. Not going to spoil anything. We've talked about it before. We've even had a full episode coverage of it where we go over the review. That may or may not be out depending on when this review comes out, but keep an eye out for that. I'll just say this, great film. As far as special features are concerned, it has the original commentary from directors Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. There are some deleted scenes here, so that's what you want to get this for specifically, because otherwise it's a pretty bare bones release. There's Earth's Favorite Iridian as another little feature they included on here. This is the best way to view the film, period, because even on streaming, it doesn't matter what platform, there's nothing better than watching it on a really high quality 4K Ultra release, especially if you have a good setup at home. It's highly recommended. We've also received season 1 of Marshals on Blu-ray. This is, for those not in the know, it's connected to the Yellowstone franchise. It is a sequel following one of the characters from the previous show. Can you jump in completely blind? Yes. I would recommend you go back and watch the Yellowstone show and just sort of get immersed in the whole saga. But again, it's a good quality release on Blu-ray. It's got 5.1 surround sound, completely uncompressed there. That's where this is going to shine over on that versus the streaming version. And as well, you get a higher bitrate here. It looks better than what it streamed when you watched it on TV originally. The same goes for Reacher Season 3. One of my favorite shows of the last few years, where it's sort of been like a family thing where we're not watching it together, we watch it separately at our homes and then talk about it later. Reacher has been a favorite of mine since it first came out, and we got season 3 on Blu-ray in the original aspect ratio, all the stuff you'd expect. Again, higher bitrate, high quality audio, pretty standard here, not a ton of special features, but it looks way better and it just feels better. You don't have any of the bit crushing or anything that was happening, or moire effects that you were getting sometimes in the streaming, which I was noticing in some of the more dynamic shots. So it's good to see it that way. Also came in the mail, happy to say, The Sheep Detectives. This was one of my favorite family films of the last few years when I saw it in theaters. This is think like Paddington in style of tone, maybe a little more serious, but that sort of thing. Families can all get enjoyment from this. Murder mystery, it's like baby's first murder mystery to teach kids, but also it has enough twists and turns to keep the adults happy. Obviously cute sheep, good message about family and not judging books by its covers, that sort of stuff. Really, really solid family picture, and I'm happy to see that it's on home video now. And what we have here is a pretty bare bones release, but again, great scenery. I would say one of the best looking family pictures, and a good feel good sort of movie you can watch pretty much whenever. I was pretty happy with it. I think it's well worth it. I would say this is going to be one that is going to be a great family gift. So I'll put links in the description to the show for all of these. Just a bundle of stuff that came in from different companies. Very happy. Thanks to them for sending it over. We'll have more to go through soon because we're still on break for the next few weeks, but we'll jump in as more cool movies and reviews come out. So that's it for this little section here to Roundup. I hope that there's something in here that you can enjoy. Check it out. We'll put links in the description for the show.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again, I am here talking about some video games. Well, we had some friendos over at Relevo, and Selectica Play send over a copy of the PC game, although this is available across multiple platforms. I'm talking about Terrifier, the arcade game. How would I describe this game? Well, it's sort of a retro-inspired beat-em-up, and that's a phrase you will hear constantly nowadays. So think Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Castle Crashers, Shredder's Revenge, Rita's Rewind. You kind of get the idea where I'm going with. Maybe older games like Double Dragon, Final Fight, whatever. And I'm actually a pretty huge fan of the Terrifier franchise, although the franchise has been in the media recently, though probably not for the greatest of reasons. So that aside, I love the character of Art the Clown. I think the character, the actor, David Thornton, I think his name is, does a fantastic job, and Art the Clown has definitely made his impression upon the world of scary cinema since his debut many, many years ago. And we can look forward to Terrifier 4, I think, in a couple of years, I think is the idea. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, this game allows you to play one of 4 characters, up to including randomly Chris Jericho, who is the security guard you see at the end of Terrifier 2, I want to say. But yeah, you can play as the little girl whose name escapes me, and the person at the end of the first movie, I don't want to spoil too much if you haven't played or watched the first movie, it becomes pretty evident what this person is. That being said, the storyline for this game, such as it may be, a film crew has come to town, taken over the city where Art the Clown is. I think it's like Miles County or something. And they're making a movie based on Art the Clown. And obviously, he doesn't like this. So it is up to you and up to 4 of your friends in co-op for you to go out there and stop this from being made. You face directors, executives, the sound guy, eventually Sienna in her Angel costume. You also randomly fight Tom Savini. And it's like 6 levels-ish. It's a very short game. You can beat this game in under an hour. And I really wish I could say I had a lot of positive to say about this. I do like the amount of unlockables that are available. You do unlock some music, which I think is okay. Some of the behind-the-scenes art. There's actually some pretty decent pixel art in this, if you look at it. However, when you compare it against its contemporaries like Shredder's Revenge or Rita's Rewind, not exactly their level of quality. And I can't say that's fair to the developers to expect them to produce what is arguably probably at bare minimum AA. And it's based upon an IP. So this feels more in line with sort of like the Retro Realms Ash Evil Dead Halloween game that came out a while back. Has the style, has the spirit of what it wants to accomplish, but that doesn't necessarily land. However, the thing that really bothers me about this particular game, it's the controls. So I'm playing this on Steam, and I've heard several other reviewers say this game can be played upon a potato. And my PC, it's mostly meant for high-end audio editing. I don't do a lot of gaming on my PC. I play a lot of older Xbox 360 and PS3 era games and some lower end games. I think the most advanced game I play is like StarCraft. So that should give you an idea on how powerful my PC is. But I noticed a lot of problems with hit detection in this. Attacks felt weirdly slow. One thing I really disliked about this is when your character gets knocked back, you have to hit the A button to get back up at least like 3 to 5 times until your character can stand back on their own 2 feet. Now you do have a light attack, a heavy attack, and a special attack, and each character does have their own. Art summons like this spike pit. The girl does like this twirl. The Scarred Woman does like this Hadouken like thing, and Chris Jericho pulls out a steel chair. There is an unlockable costume that you can get where Art is in his Terrifier 3 Santa outfit. I thought you'd maybe get a new special attack, or maybe the character would control slightly differently. It does not, at least from what I can tell. And you do get other weapons in the game, like you do get a gun. You do get like his like chair leg with like the spikes in it. You get batons, dynamite, fire axes, stuff like that. None of them feel particularly impactful. In fact, some of the enemies feel like damage sponges. If there's any of the larger firefighter type character, or there's this guy with like a mohawk you fight, they're about the toughest ones you fight on the typical. But there's like cops, firefighters, clowns randomly, and nothing feels impactful. And that was something that I actually watched a video on YouTube recently that was talking about an older Power Rangers game, why it felt so good, why the hits really felt like they were impacting with weight and mass behind them. This game doesn't do that. It feels weirdly repetitive. And while it's fun for all, because there are branching paths, I don't know necessarily whether they lead to any alternate endings. In fact, when you get to the end of this game, it just kind of stops, which is weird. There's one level where it's very much Scott Pilgrim-esque, where you're sort of like in the warp zone, but there's randomly scenes from the Terrifier in the background. Like you see Art in like the costume store, where he's with like his bag of like weapons, like his bag of garbage. You see Sienna in the background, stuff like that. It's very peculiar. And I don't know, like there wasn't a lot here. Like there is some nice pixel art in the intro that shows all the characters coming together, and there is kind of a cool pixel art ending as well, but it just abruptly ends. There are like unlockable modes like time attack, wave mode. There's like a roguelike element where like it's permadeath and enemies are tougher. No, I'm not doing that. There is a cheat code that you can enter. It's pretty easy to find online that does unlock some stuff, but that's about the most positive thing I can say about it. Ultimately, Terrifier the arcade game, it's a disappointing mess. And that sucks, because I really wanted to purchase the collector's edition for this game. I was really looking forward to this. And unfortunately, this is just a colossal letdown for me. So honestly, I cannot recommend Terrifier the arcade game. I'm pretty sure Art the Clown's going to come to my door and show me what happens with a bottle of vinegar and a bag of salt.
I felt like I didn't belong. I wanted someone, anyone, beside me.
So many things seem intertwined. I began this journey hoping to find you.
Alex, the producer here, to talk very briefly in a quick first impressions / overview coverage of Final Fantasy X and X-2, now on Nintendo Switch 2. Birdman and I both received review codes for this to check out. He is playing it, I think, for the very first time. I am a Final Fantasy X and, to a lesser extent, X-2 veteran. So I'm going to do this here because I've had more time to breeze through. I was able to sort of play through as quickly as I could, as well as sort of knowing the overview of the story. I'm not having to basically absorb all of the story beats and just the feel and atmosphere as much as he is, because he's taking his time to enjoy it. So expect maybe another review a little bit down the line where we get his thoughts on it. But right now for this, I wanted to make sure that, as the game is ready to come out, that we had some coverage of it. And I'm somebody who is pretty well versed. I can tell you if the game is playing well or if it's not, because my history with it is this was the game of the year for me when I was in ninth grade. I think it came out when I was in ninth or 10th grade, ninth grade. And I played this, beat it, put 120 hours or more into it on the original PS2 release for the first game. X-2 is interesting in that I didn't play it initially. I was in that camp when I was a boy at the time. I was like, I don't want to play it. It's all just a girl dancing game, or blah, blah, blah. Funny enough, my younger brother, who was 6 years younger than me, was 9, picked it up. And he played it. He didn't play 10. He only played X-2. He loved it. And I had to go back. I was like, fine, I'll go back and play it. And I was like, oh, I was a moron. This game is pretty fun. The presentation is very different and goofier. But I really enjoyed it then. And then fast forward, when it came out on the package together on PS4, I played it there. And then I played a little bit on PC, but it was not the easiest to run. It wasn't the most compatible. And now, fast forward even more, we've got a Switch 2 version to check out. I can say this, it scales very well to the Switch's resolution, to Switch 2's resolution on the screen and on TV. No slowdowns. It's 60 FPS the whole way. I believe it's scaling properly to 4K on my TV, and then in handheld 1080p, no issues. You're basically getting a resolution and stability bump with a little bit more anti-aliasing than what you would get on Switch or PS4 or platforms like that. You're getting a much more robust, modern presentation of it. It has obviously the international versions of both games, so has the Dark Aeons, all that sort of stuff that you don't necessarily need to know about, just stuff that was added for the international release back in the day, like the special version is included here. You've also got there was a last mode that was sort of added that was like a tower climbing thing. I don't really care for that. That was a little extra thing to give you a little extra story at the very it plays very different than those two games. So honestly, personally, I skip it. It's not worth it to me. If I need to watch it, I'll watch a YouTube video to see how that concludes. I didn't like it. Love the main games though. love. It was controversial at the time not having an overworld for the first time. I still don't like that. This is, though, the last Final Fantasy numbered mainline release to be a proper turn-based traditional style RPG that everybody loved. And that's important because when you moved beyond this, 11 was an MMO, 12 was basically an MMO played in single player. I do not like the design of that game, how it feels. Even when playing for a review, I did not like that. The story was too convoluted. I still, after beating it, I beat it once for sure. Don't remember anything that happens in that game. It was completely obtuse and forgettable. 13 was the same way. I did not like how linear it was, and I did not like how it took the gameplay away from the player and made it not fun, and made you have to search for the lore and understanding of it. Not great writing in the 13. 14, I don't play MMOs. I don't want to get sucked in, so I don't play. I hear it's great. I just don't play it. 15, really good story. Not the best execution in the gameplay. That engine wasn't great. 16, great engine. Pretty good story. Not the best production on how it was presented as a whole. It was just sort of a little lopsided. The side missions were kind of shallow. It didn't feel like a Final Fantasy. It wasn't going for that. And then you have obviously the 7 trilogy remakes, which are fantastic. But this was the last time that it felt like true Final Fantasy. It's also a great jumping on point for new players because Final Fantasy is traditionally single. You don't need to play other games to know previous games before it. Nothing in this requires prior knowledge of Final Fantasy. And the fact that you have 10 and 10-2, the sequel, it was the first time that there was a sequel to a numbered title that was a full-blown release. You've got both of them here. It's basically the complete package. This is a good entry point for a lot of people that were, the only thing that is off-putting is the voice acting was rough, but it was also the very first time they had ever done fully voiced characters in Final Fantasy titles. So there's the classic ha 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 joking and just the dialogue. It's a little rough. There were other companies that were putting out RPGs, even turn-based RPGs, that had better voice acting in 2000 and 2001, but this was Square's first foray into it. Now they're like market leaders, right? But at the time, it was basically stuff from Namco. Basically back then, it was stuff from Namco, stuff from Working Designs, so Game Arts produced stuff, and stuff from Western game companies that were doing PC games that had really good voice acting. And that was it. There wasn't really great voice acting on any game until I would say a year or so around this time, or right after, when Halo and that were coming out, right? And that was a different genre. So this is still a pioneering era of fully voiced RPGs. So take that with a grain of salt. It's still a very charming and good performance. There's just some wonkiness that you'll laugh at when you play. You just will. And then, of course, it's goofier in the second game. The stakes are a little higher, but it's still goofier. Very fun. Lots of secrets to find. I know it like the back of my hand. I played that so much that I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I'm doing. So for me, I'm just an expert at it. We'll have to hear Birdman's take, being a complete noob to it. I already told him, dude, if you get stuck, don't consult a guide. Consult Alex, your live human guide, and I'll give you some tips. And then, of course, if you really get stuck, some of the puzzles in it can be a little obtuse. I also, some of the finding the legendary weapons and unlocking them, it might be a little too much for him to figure out. He's not as versed in the esoteric eras of late SNES, Saturn, PS1 into PS2 esoteric strangeness of Japanese RPG puzzles as I am. So I also had the strategy guide back in the day, so I've like ingrained that into my memory. But that being said, this is a good release. There's going to be complaints from everybody around the board, like, oh, there's not an upgrade from the Switch 1 version to the Switch 2. That's on the publisher. That could also be on Nintendo. There's a lot of different aspects to this. Just know it's a solid release regardless. If it's their first time picking it up, it's a great way to pick it up. If you're somebody that has it on Switch 1 and you're like, is it worth me paying a full price for an upgrade? That's going to depend on your fandom of it, right? More than anything. Is it that much better? The picture is clearer. It just simply is. But the load times are going to be faster, but it's not like something that it's going to be earth shattering if you already own like a Switch version. I think if you don't own the Switch version and you've only owned it previously on like the PS2 or like the PS4 and you have a Switch 2 and you want to play it on the go, it's a no-brainer. So if that's the case, worth picking up. If you're brand new to the franchise, this is a great entry point for it. And it's a good way to play something in between, now that we're in the in-between stages between major Final Fantasy releases.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again I'm here to talk to you about something that our friends over at Warner Brothers Home Entertainment sent over. I'm talking about Speed Racer on 4K Ultra HD plus a digital code. I remember seeing this movie back in theaters way back when, and it was a live-action cartoon brought to life by the Wachowskis, who also did the Matrix series of movies. So I was immediately interested in this. I've always had a passing interest in Speed Racer. For those of you that don't know what Speed Racer is, it's a 1960s anime that got brought over to to North America, where it was renamed Speed Racer. It's the story of a kid named Speed and his family trying to be the best racer in the world. He has a brother named Racer X, who's like his mysterious rival. There's a chimpanzee, and John Goodman and Susan Sarandon. Very, very good cast in this movie. Also, Christina Ricci as Trixie, his girlfriend. And it's basically, it's a live-action cartoon. It's very visually in your face, and not necessarily in a bad way. Now, this is one of these movies where I feel like 4K really shines, because this movie was, I think, one of the first ones totally shot on digital. You may have to fact check me on that one, but I seem to recall this movie was a very big deal at the time. Watching this last night for this review, I am so surprised how many of the details really stand out. Particularly, there's a racing scene right near the end, and there's a lot of racing in this, and you see Speed whipping around the track, and I'm actually paying attention to his uniform, and I'm able to pick out texture and details on that, even as it's moving super quick. I'm looking for little mechanical details. One thing I never noticed at the end of the movie is his tires have melted, and there's rubber dripping off of them, and I never noticed that even when I saw this on like a 70-foot screen way back when, in like the mid-2000s. And it was such a visual treat. And I know this movie has been sort of re-examined over the years as a underappreciated masterpiece, and I can't say that I disagree with that. Now, in terms of special features, all of the old ones are there from what I can tell, and there's even a Target exclusive one. And I would wonder if some of these special features got a bit of an upscale. I know one or two of them are still in standard, but whatever. But there is a brand new one where they talk with the Wachowskis for like 10 to 15 minutes, and it's them reflecting upon the movie, the experience, the reception, and what they wanted to bring to it visually. And it's very much a visually striking movie. I would recommend this to people who are anime fans, who are fans of a distinct visual style. You don't necessarily have to be a huge fan of the IP to appreciate it. Now, don't go into this and expect like Citizen Kane or Oppenheimer or anything where it's like a super tight narrative that's going to win an Oscar for best screenplay. Let's get that right out of the room right now. But what you are going to get is an absolute visual treat that literally assaults the senses. It's almost like someone pelting you with nerds. but occasionally nerds fall in your mouth, and it's really tasty, and it's really fun. Speed Racer on 4K Ultra HD, it's a visual treat. If you liked this movie way back when it originally came out, you're going to love it here. If you are new to Speed Racer, then I'm actually going to go out on a limb. If you like movies that were ahead of their time, like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I think this is going to be something you're really going to appreciate. So check out Speed Racer from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment.
This world has been torn asunder. Your mission is to make it whole once more.
Have you not noticed how it has trembled of late? It is an omen. The god of death wakes from its slumber, and the army of death stirs in the deep.
Your hope crumbles, dust in the wind.
If we fail, I think everyone might die.
But if the quest was given to you, you should be the ones to clear it.
Collect the legendary weapons of ancient lore from the sanctuaries scattered about. For if not, death will come for us all.
With me!
Right.
Nice work!
Ready?
Together!
Right.
I hope we can meet again someday.
Hey guys, Ken Reels here, and welcome to my review for Sword Art Online Echoes of Aincrad. This game is developed by Game Studio, yes really, and Bandai Namco, and published by Bandai Namco. This game is available on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam, and I was given a code from the folks over at Bandai Namco for the Series X. And this is based on the popular anime franchise Sword Art Online. This is the 9th game in the franchise. However, this is the first game in the franchise that actually gives you the actual Sword Art Online experience. This is a third-person action RPG where you get to create your own original Sword Art Online character and go on an original story as an alternative parallel tale to that of the events of Kirito, Asuna, and the crew in the original Aincrad Sword Art Online. It is basically a one-to-one recreation of the Sword Art Online video game from the light novels and anime. And this is where the disconnect is with a lot of the people that I've seen have problems with this game lie. Because when you break down the game of Sword Art Online as it is in universe with the actual translation of an actual video game, it kind of makes for a mediocre video game, if not a shitty video game, depending on who you talk to. But if you're looking for an actual Sword Art Online experience, then this is the game you've been wanting ever since they teased possibly making a full-blown VR game back in 2016 when they did that tech demo on the HTC Vive. This praise also comes with some extra caveats as well. The game has a 5 to 6 hour opening part of the game before you even get to character creation and are jumping into Sword Art Online proper. And then you have to go through a lot more railroading until you actually get to the full-blown open world stuff. So you have to not only go through about 5 to 6 hours of kind of monotonous railroading tutorialized gameplay, but you have another extra hour or so on top of going through all that tutorial stuff. And I fully understand why the game is built like that, because you want to get introduced to these characters, you want to get introduced to the world and whatnot. But if you are someone that already knows this world, knows some of the characters, and knows how this game is actually played, this creates a really, really frustrating opening 5 to 6, maybe 7 to 8 hours of just doing very monotonous stuff, being railroaded, and not being able to actually kind of have fun, in quotes, with this open worldy video game. And as the game itself, I think it is a pretty fun video game. It's a hit buttons and have fun kind of game, especially at the lower difficulties. And I will note that the lowest difficulty is basically I don't want to play the video game mode. And the next step up from that is the you actually want to play the video game mode, but you don't want to have a tough time playing the video game mode. On the Series X, there is a handful of sort of supported features, and then some that are not listed on the page, as well as some stuff that is listed on the page. When I plugged in a keyboard and mouse into my Series X, it did actually allow me to control the game. However, the game doesn't have full mouse and keyboard support, as all button prompts remain controller bound, and I needed to hunt around the keyboard to figure out what keys did what in the game. But it does technically let you use a keyboard and mouse to play this game. This game supports up to 120 FPS with a graphics and performance mode. Graphics mode prioritizes the 4K visuals over FPS, and performance mode knocks the visual fidelity down for a more stable frame rate, in quotes. However, both modes, when allowed to output to 120 FPS, run at an uncapped frame rate and will hover around the 80 to 90 FPS mark during normal gameplay. This might be different if you have a high refresh rate display, and it could see frame dips on a 60 Hz display, so mileage may vary. Now let's talk pricing. Just the game itself will run you $70. However, there is a deluxe edition that comes with the DLC expansion pass and access to the game's permadeath mode from moment 1 at 90 USD. That permadeath mode normally unlocks after completing the game for the first time. Then there's the Ultimate Edition, which I received for review, that includes all the deluxe edition goodies, as well as access to a bonus app, in quotes, containing a digital art book, soundtrack, both of which are not exportable to a drive for offline listening and viewing on other devices, and a feature-length movie set during the events of the game, but do not contain any significance to the game, all done using the in-game models, and that edition will run you 110 USD. The feature movie is kind of trash and not worth watching, in my opinion, unless you want to consume literally everything Sword Art Online forever and always. The Ultimate Edition I would not recommend to literally anyone except absolute diehards of the franchise, but if you're listening to this review and you're a diehard fan of the franchise, you have probably already bought this edition to begin with. The Deluxe Edition is honestly kind of worth it if you're waiting for this Sword Art Online game for forever. If you're curious about the game, I would simply buy it on Steam. If you can see if it's really worth sinking the many hours you're going to sink into to complete the game on a full playthrough, or you can just pick it up within the next year or so when it's on sale. For most people who like these okay anime action RPGs, you've probably already picked this game up. But if you're curious, I do think Sword Art Online Echoes of Aincrad does satisfy the promise of a Sword Art Online video game, and it is worth taking a look at. Maybe not at full price. So that is going to be it for my review for Sword Art Online Echoes of Aincrad for the Series X. And thank you to the folks at Bandai Namco for sending me a code.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends over at FiiO sent over brand new over-the-ear gaming headset to check out. This is actually the first product that we've had a chance to check out for review from them, so I wanted to say thank you for sending that over. We'll actually have a few more products to check out over the next couple of weeks as I take some time during our summer break to really dig in and basically do some, I guess, preliminary stuff for like back to school and thinking about like, what are you looking to pick up, for your office or school when you want to get back to things, and maybe even thinking a little forward and thinking into stuff like holiday gift guide stuff. It's already that time of year, guys. But yes, this is the FG3. This is a brand new gaming headset from them. The first time they've come out with something in this class. It is a high-res audio device. It's USB-C. Comes with a little adapter to go to USB-A if that's all you've got. For instance, if you're using it in a desktop PC that doesn't have as many USB-C ports on it, or something of that extent. This is also usable in basically every gaming console you could think of, because it also comes with, like, the main cord itself is the tri-ring loop, like the TRSS, whatever that name is for that, the standard headphone jack that you see on like your PlayStation 4, PS5, your Switch 2, Switch, your Xbox controllers, all this stuff that plugs in the bottom, or technically, I guess, old school sound cards or audio devices. Like, you could technically plug this into like I did. I plugged it into portable Walkman and stuff from back in the day just to see, and it works just fine that way. But it does come with an inline controller that you plug it into that then goes to USB, and it has its own DAC built in, which is pretty sweet. Offers 7.1 virtual surround. To be honest, have been always skeptical of that. I'm not a big fan of when something says like 5.1 surround. It's not really surround. Virtual surround is not real surround, and you can tell the difference. Back in the day, we're talking 20 some odd years ago, I had purchased headphones from gaming companies that actually had discrete individual 5.1 speakers. So as in, like, you put the earphones on, then the headphones, and instead of big giant woofers and tweeters, one driver inside of the headphone, you actually had multiple smaller ones, like the size of like what you get with like little tiny earbuds, and they were positioned in there to give you actual 5.1, and they had discrete inputs on the back, so you plug it into your sound card with like the front, the sides, the back, the old school way of doing analog surround. And that was true surround, and it was cool, but it obviously didn't have the loud, rich volume that you would get from something with larger drivers. And then we went to this virtual stuff, which I'm not a big fan of. It has a built-in, you can press buttons on it to change the profile it uses for its own EQ. There is pretty big differences, I'd say, between them. There's a movie mode, there is a gaming focus mode, and then there's like a music mode. I tend to just leave it in the music mode. I found that's the flattest, where it doesn't really pitch. Like, you'll find that on the other modes, it comes in a little hot and harsh on some of the vocals and different things. You could really dig into it, though, if you really wanted to go like full EQing on it in Windows, or if you're using it with a device that has its own EQ or software for it. That's all cool. You can do that. I like to leave it sort of flat when I'm testing it. And in the flat sort of mode, like the generic, what I would say music mode, it sounds pretty good. It can get quite loud without distorting. So you might want to, if you have sensitive ears, you're going to want to keep the volume a little down. It has inline volume control with a switch on it, it goes up and down. Pressing it in mutes it. There's a feature on the inline controls where it has one of those sort of breathing things where the light will breathe in and out and show you which mode it's on. Within Windows itself, you're able to select, obviously, the sample rate and everything. It goes up to 32-bit and like way high frequency response range. Beyond generally what you're going to naturally hear or be comfortable with. Also, you then it's such a high data rate, it becomes an issue of, are you really hearing it, or are you bottlenecked by the USB standard? There's a bunch of other things there. I found the best way to set it, because I like to use, as far as surround sound goes, I actually have the Dolby, and I have DTS, the software for Windows paid for with the licenses, where it has the really the high end surround codecs to give you simulated stereo and surround spacing, and I use the Atmos headphone for most things, and that tops out with any device that you use at 24-bit 96 kilohertz to get the most compatibility out of it. And so I use that because that's a baseline for me when I'm actually testing a lot of different headphones, or what I just naturally listen with. And putting it into 24-bit 96 kilohertz mode, these sound real good, and I mean really good for the price class that they're in. They're very reasonably priced. As far as if you're testing it, they're comfortable on the ear. They're large ear cushions are good. They don't make you feel like you're going to have any major sweating issues or being too tight on you. It fits my gigantic head, which is always great. The microphone is pretty good. It's detachable, and I would say in doing some testing with it, it's adequate. It's not going to blow your socks off. If you're a professional streamer or something, you're likely still going to want to use a proper separate large full-size dynamic mic, or cardioid captured condenser mic, that way with your own little rig setup. But for pick up and play gameplay on the go in a pinch, it's going to do you just fine. It's better than a lot of the ones that I've seen out there before. There are quite a bit of other options out there when it comes to this level of price. In the competition space, I don't think anything else is actually coming quite as close to this that I've tested in quite some time. Pretty good. If there was anything I'd have to say that is maybe a point against it, it's the build quality feels a little cheap, but the quality of the actual audio is significantly more. So what you're balancing here is you're getting a good value for your money. But keep in mind, these are not going to be the most robust headphones made out of titanium, metal, carbon, or anything like that. They're not super duper delicate, but you might have to be careful. You're not going to want to toss these guys around. This is something that you're going to have to be sure that you're careful with picking up, putting down, because I could see them torquing and breaking if you're not careful with them. You're not going to want to toss them in your bag willy-nilly. They do fold up, which is good. And the cushion around the band at the top is pretty good, but it to me, the only thing it doesn't pass, if you're somebody who's very sensitive to hearing outside noise or interference, if you're tapping the outside of the headphones, anywhere on it, or rubbing your fingers across the body, you pick up every bit of audio when you're hearing that. That's something that you see usually in lighter materials and cheaper stuff, but it is offset by the fact that the actual quality of the drivers is pretty good. And it's something that when I was looking up, I'm like, oh, I see why it sounds pretty good for what it is. They're coaxial dual drivers. So basically, you have a 50 millimeter dynamic driver, which is the standard driver on the outside. But they've done the thing where they put a 16 millimeter driver in the center, sort of like a tweeter. And it has a proper crossover like you would have with good speakers. I've actually had some small bookshelf speakers that are like this, where instead of having a tweeter and a woofer above and below each other, the tweeter is in the center of the woofer, acts independently and separate. It's something pretty cool. It can be hard to pull off, and they do a pretty good job here. I didn't have any major issues. The frequency range, from low lows to high highs is pretty good. Again, adjust your volume accordingly, because these can get pretty loud. They're officially say that they're 192 kilohertz at 24-bit. I would say functionally, for if you want to make it work with every other codec out there, if you've got Dolby support or DTS support on your computer, or depending on if you've got that, for instance, even with the headphone support on Xbox or something, and you're plugging in, if you're going to do that sort of thing, you're probably going to set it in Windows to 96 kilohertz 24-bit, and that seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of that. But it is cool to see that it can go higher than that. The 7.1 virtual surround. I will be honest, that's something, take it with a grain of salt. That's up to you. I think that that's more so a marketing thing that a lot of companies do. It's not going to be the selling feature here. The selling feature here for me as a gamer and as a appreciator of high quality audio and video is that it sounds really good just in its stereo standard mode and flat, and then you can always enhance it with your own EQ or put on put it in a mode on Windows or something for Dolby or DTS should you have that available. There is the FiiO control web where you can fine tune your EQ if you want to do that with all the different gaming modes and stuff too. Pretty sweet overall. Very happy with it so far. I'm probably going to use it to play more games, but again, out of the box, works with Windows, Mac, PS4, PS5, Xbox, Switch, and pretty much all your mobile devices. I did take the USB-C connection, plug it directly into my Pixel phone. It picked it up as headset right away, and I was able to use it no problem. That's pretty sweet. So it works on pretty much every device I plug it in. Happy with it, and we're gonna, put a link in the description for the show here so you can check it out for yourself if you're interested. I think it's pretty cool, and we're going to be back over the next couple of weeks with a couple other products for them to talk about as I have more time to check out these cool new products from FiiO.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
Alrighty, and that's going to do it for now. We're still on our break. Sorry if this is a stilted or shorter intro and outro than we usually have, but we're right in the midst of our break, and we want to enjoy the time off, to be quite frank. But there's also been so many cool things that have come out that we're like, wait a minute, we got to get some reviews out here, because there's a lot of stuff piling up and there's a lot of really neat things. But as far as like what's going on in the background, we've got a bunch of cool things in the works coming out. As far as programming wise, I actually right before going on official break where I wasn't going to do anything, news alert, I'm still actually doing some stuff in the background. I prepped the next several months of Earth vs. Soup episodes. We have everything planned and recorded and scheduled for Earth vs. Soup all the way out until the end of January, so we are good to go there. And speaking of, this week's episode is going to be the return of Count Yorga from 1971, and then the following week we're looking at episode 320, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. That's one that I know Aaron was really happy to record a while ago on that. As far as other programming, in our regular Monday time slot where we would have our regular flagship show, we are having an episode of Future Imperfect on James Cameron's Avatar franchise. We had a longer form discussion on that. And then the following week, we have Future Imperfect on revisiting Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4. In our regular time slots that we normally do our flagship shows, over the next few weeks, going into when we come back from break, it's going to be science fiction heavy stuff. So we're going to have episodes on, what's next after that? We have revisiting Star Trek 5 and 6 after 3 and 4. That's right. We also have a random access memories on movie mentors, and then we'll have a random access memories on video game stuff. There's a topic there. It'll be pretty cool. We've got other episodes in the works in the background that we're recording. Birdman is still doing, even on break, he's pre-recording and getting some stuff prepped for the spell book, so we'll have more episodes of that coming. I know Ken and the boys are working on more Loose Cannons and Ram episodes as well. I'll be prepping a bunch of cool stuff for the fall for Future Imperfect. Still want to get another show launched this summer. I'll be doing a show at some point on lost or forgotten television shows, genre television shows, the weird, the strange, the just plain effed up, essentially. So expect that hopefully soon, and then we'll be back to our regular programming. We have the prototype episodes coming out soon as well. We're going to be covering stuff for at the end of the month, getting closer to that. We'll be doing Gamescom coverage and things like that coming out. We'll probably do an episode. We still want to do one on Pragmata. We'll maybe do that discussion a little later when Birdman is completely done and ready to go. But there's plenty of stuff coming that way. That's going to do it right now for us. When will we be back with another review show or a Roundup show? Not entirely sure yet. Sometime over the next 2 weeks, maybe next week, depending on if we've got a few things coming, because I have some pretty cool stuff that I'm working on, I've been listening to and trying out, and I want to make sure that that comes out in a timely fashion. We might do a sort of smaller back to school, back to work review show right as we get close to the end of the month, right before Labor Day weekend, when you're looking to get that last bit of stuff before the summer break ends, or right as you're starting in school and you're like, hey, I've got some extra money. What should I get? So we're working on some stuff for that. We'll see what happens as that comes out. But that's going to do it for today. We'll talk to you guys again next time right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at ThisWeekInGeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@ThisWeekInGeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.